It's been a struggle to get along with my mother-in-law. She seems not to approve of me, but luckily, my husband supports me fully. During a recent family outing, we all decided to eat at a place known for its spicy chicken. My mother-in-law has a penchant for extremely spicy food, often complaining that dishes could still be hotter, despite already being at maximum spice levels. In contrast, I'm quite sensitive to spicy foods, which she appears to find overly fussy. At the restaurant, diners could choose their preferred level of spiciness, so I opted for a mild option, while she bravely selected the Reaper level. As we ate, I accidentally bit into a piece of chicken that was far spicier than expected, causing me immense pain and forcing me to make a scene as I desperately called for water. My husband was initially confused about the sudden chaos, but I noticed his stepdad and aunt exchanging knowing smirks, and my mother-in-law seemed oddly satisfied. Once I managed to speak, I confronted her, and she smugly admitted to swapping one of our chicken pieces as a prank. This led to my husband angrily confronting her. I told her that what she did felt like an assault and warned her against such antics in the future, emphasizing that I was part of the family because of her son's love, not for her amusement. In a moment of frustration, I retaliated by pouring a vanilla milkshake on her, which she took without any visible reaction typical of her usual impassiveness. This caused a mix of laughter and criticism from the family, with some thinking I had overreacted. Was I wrong to consider her prank as assault and to respond by dousing her with a milkshake? No, I don't believe so. If it had been just a regular spicy chicken piece, it might have been less severe. But considering the extreme spice, akin to putting pepper spray in your mouth, she deserved the milkshake response. I hope this incident convinces my husband to limit or cease contact with her, as I can't imagine allowing someone who pranks so dangerously to be around without serious reservations. Having a harmonious relationship with my mother-in-law has been challenging, especially because she doesn't understand my dietary limitations regarding spicy food. Recently, she intentionally swapped our food during a family meal, giving me a piece that was extremely spicy. This act was not just a simple prank, it could have caused serious health issues. People who aren't accustomed to spicy food can suffer from severe cramps, fainting spells, or even days of lingering pain after consuming something too hot for their tolerance. She was fully aware that I can't handle spicy food, yet she decided to pull this stunt. In my view, this qualifies as an assault because it was a deliberate action against my well-being. Her lack of reaction to the whole episode, including when I poured a milkshake over her as a form of retaliation, only highlights her unsettling demeanor. It seemed like she wanted to portray me as the irrational one in front of our family, who, disappointingly, found humor in the situation. This incident makes me reconsider having my children around her, as her actions suggest she's not a safe presence. It's also a stark reminder of the risks associated with spicy food, which can trigger allergic reactions or worse. In fact, my father, despite being a lover of spicy foods, once had a severe reaction where his throat swelled up, making it difficult for him to breathe. Given the potential dangers and her dramatic lack of response, it's clear that maintaining a relationship with her might not be worth the emotional toll it takes. It's time to have a serious conversation with my husband about setting boundaries or possibly cutting ties to ensure our family's safety and peace of mind. On a practical note, keeping sugar packets on hand has been a lifesaver for me. When I lived in Mexico for 8 years, I learned that sugar can counteract the burning sensation of spicy foods much more effectively than water or milk. This little trick has helped me manage accidental spicy encounters and might be helpful for others who struggle with similar issues. The family dynamic has been complex and somewhat tumultuous, largely because of the blending of different backgrounds and the presence of many children. My dad and his current wife have been married for 8 years, and together they have 2 toddlers. They got married after dating for about 15 or 17 months during a time when she was finalizing her divorce. In our household, my sister and I are unique because we are the only ones who have extended family actively involved in our lives. This includes our maternal grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins. Unfortunately, my dad's family chose not to maintain a relationship with us, since we are not his biological children. Consequently, he has severed ties with them. His wife's familial connections are limited as well. Her parents have passed away, her brother is absent, and her former in-laws are incarcerated. This absence of family on their side has caused tension, as the other children in the household feel left out. They envy the relationships my sister and I have with our relatives, yearning for similar experiences like barbecues and sleepovers with cousins and grandparents. Recently, the situation escalated when my dad and his wife attempted to restrict our interactions with our maternal family. They hoped to strengthen the bond within our immediate household by limiting our external family interactions under the pretense of creating unity. This effort was further intensified by global events, which they saw as an opportunity to enforce family solidarity. My dad has expressed that he feels it's unfair to his other children that my sister and I have these external connections. He has even gone as far as to demand that we cut off contact with our maternal family, claiming that continuing these relationships is a bad influence and teaches us to close off our hearts to our step-siblings and half-siblings. When I confronted him about why the needs of his other children seemed to take precedence over ours, he accused me of lacking logic and fairness. He urged me to show more compassion and love towards my siblings, not just my sister. However, this feels unjust, as it asks us to sacrifice our well-established family ties. Am I wrong for feeling this way? Absolutely not. It's understandable to feel conflicted and resistant to severing ties with loved ones who have been a significant part of your life. As you approach adulthood, you and your sister will have more autonomy over your relationships and decisions. It might be wise to discuss your legal options with your maternal family, especially regarding your sister's situation once you turn 20. This could provide a pathway to maintain your cherished family connections without undue interference from your father. It's essential to consider what's best for both you and your sister's emotional well-being and familial relationships. What kind of logic is it that would prevent you from pursuing your education simply because others may not have the same opportunity? This seems as unreasonable as expecting everyone to stop walking if, unfortunately, one sibling were to become wheelchair-bound due to an accident. Question your father. If he insists on absolute equality, why then do some siblings grow up with their biological mother while you do not? This is particularly perplexing, considering your father has estranged himself from his own relatives. Why should you be held to a standard of engagement with his family that he himself does not uphold? It's time to appreciate and value your mother's side of the family. Several years ago, I discovered my wife was having an affair when her phone data usage unexpectedly increased. Upon investigating, I traced a frequently dialed number back to her ex-boyfriend. She initially denied the allegations, which led me to check her phone where I found texts to her best friend who not only knew about the affair but encouraged it. While my wife and I have since reconciled, the pain lingers, especially towards her friend who supported the affair rather than advising her to do the right thing. Now, as her friend prepares to get married with my wife as the maid of honor, I am filled with anxiety at the thought of attending the wedding. After much thought, I've decided to prioritize my mental health and not attend. While my wife seemed more angry than hurt by my decision and has since been distant, I've tried to communicate my feelings clearly. I've even offered to support her attending the wedding on her own. In no way do I feel I'm at fault here. It's not truly her friend I'm angry with. It's unresolved issues with my wife and how the affair impacted our relationship. Despite the apparent reconciliation, deep down things are not as resolved as they seem. It seems clear that the efforts to mend your relationship have been largely one-sided, with you bearing the brunt of the emotional labor. Your wife's reaction to your valid concerns and emotions raises questions about her understanding and respect for your feelings. Frankly, her anger in response to your pain suggests a lack of genuine remorse over her past actions. If she truly regretted her actions, she would distance herself from the friend who encouraged her affair, rather than celebrating her by serving as her maid of honor. It's crucial for you to reflect on why you remain in a relationship where your feelings seem undervalued and your pain minimized. A truly remorseful partner would prioritize your healing and respect your boundaries, rather than expecting you to maintain relationships with those who hurt you. As for the wedding, while the idea of making a pointed comment may provide temporary satisfaction, it could lead to more strife. It's understandable to want to express your feelings, but consider the long-term effects of such actions. Perhaps the healthiest course of action is to reevaluate this relationship and consider whether it's truly beneficial to your emotional well-being. On a different note, you recently invested in a beautiful dress styled after a 1677 lady in waiting, specifically for a Renaissance fair you've been eagerly anticipating. This dress, tailored to your exact measurements, represents not just a financial investment, but a personal one. Unfortunately, your sister-in-law Grace, who has a history of feeling entitled, saw the dress and asked to borrow it for a different event. Given the significant differences in size and the specific nature of your plans, you rightly declined. Grace's reaction was disappointing, particularly since you had been looking forward to wearing this dress to your event. It's important to stand firm in your decision, maintaining boundaries and ensuring that your efforts and anticipation for the Renaissance fair are respected. I had saved diligently to afford a custom-made dress tailored specifically for me, a departure from my usual method of crafting outfits from thrifted items. This dress was not only a financial investment, but also a personal milestone, reflecting my passion for historical accuracy and personal style. When Grace saw the dress and requested to borrow it for an event, I explained that while I had other dresses, this one held special significance and was made to fit only me. Despite my polite refusal, Grace reacted strongly, accusing me of selfishness. The situation escalated when she insinuated that I was calling her overweight because I mentioned the dress wouldn't fit her. This accusation hurt, as my intention was only to protect a prized possession from potential damage. My brother, trying to ease the tension, sided with Grace, suggesting that lending the dress just this once wouldn't be harmful. However, the idea of altering or damaging the dress was too much for me to accept. Caught up in the heat of the moment, I made comments about the fit that I later regretted, comparing her potential appearance in the dress to less dignified portrayals from the era, which only added fuel to the fire. After expressing that, I felt Grace was acting entitled. She left upset, and my brother became angry with me. My parents suggested I should have lent the dress to maintain peace within the family, but I stood by my decision to set boundaries around my belongings. It's not just about a dress, it's about respecting personal belongings and the effort that went into obtaining them. I felt pressured to sacrifice something important to appease someone else's last-minute needs, which seemed unfair. My refusal wasn't about denying Grace joy, but about preserving something precious to me that was at risk of being irreparably changed or damaged. In the end, it's crucial to maintain boundaries and respect for one's possessions, even if it means facing temporary discord within the family. If my sister-in-law hadn't glimpsed the dress hanging in my room, what was her plan for the party outfit attending in her casual wear? Her request to borrow my custom-made $4,100 dress, which is a significant personal investment, strikes me as quite unreasonable. It's vital to understand that my belongings are not communal property, and I need to stand firm on this point with my family. This entire ordeal has been quite distressing, especially with my husband's lack of support or apology over the matter. On a separate note, I've always found joy in reading, a passion that started with Harry Potter and has continued ever since. Understanding this, my husband recently surprised me with a stuffed dragon from one of my favorite book series. I cherished this thoughtful gift, keeping it close even in bed for comfort. However, a recent incident has left me shaken. While I was sleeping, my husband abruptly took the stuffed dragon from my arms, which not only startled me, but also caused physical pain as my earring was yanked out in the process. This action was followed by a reprimand for what he deemed inappropriate sleeping with a stuffed animal as an adult. His refusal to apologize, even for the unintended injury caused, is troubling. It seems like a small thing to ask for an apology, considering the situation. The comfort that stuffed animals provide is well recognized, and his reaction seems overly harsh, particularly since he chose the gift himself. This incident highlights deeper issues of control and insecurity, which are concerning traits in any relationship. An apology might be a start, but the underlying issues need addressing to ensure a healthy and respectful partnership.